Great Northwoods to the Rockbound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello, everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, a verdict has been reached in the Jessica Williams trial. We'll have that for you.
Plus, Maine game wardens have recovered a body in Vinyl Haven, believed to be that of a missing man. And
Bruce Poliquin was on the campaign trail in Bangor yesterday. We'll hear what he had to say.
Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. First today, drivers may want to take it a little easy as they head out for the day today. Heavy rain has been falling throughout the night, which could cause some problems along the roadway.
That was certainly the case along a stretch of road in Durham. Due to ongoing heavy rain conditions, a portion of Route 9 was washed out. The Maine DOT closed Route 9 in that area because of a culvert failure. There's a detour using routes 125 and 136. The area is expected to remain closed for at least 2 weeks until the culvert can be replaced by a larger one. Fortunately, it looks like the rainfall is finally winding down.
That's true. I just checked the radar just before we came into the studio. It looks like the big patch of green and yellow, all that was kind of moving out of the area. We good. Could still have a few rain showers, but just watch out for any puddles this morning, any other washouts or potholes, that kind of thing.
On I-95, it was definitely a risk of hydroplaning this morning, so just be careful. Take it slower if you need to.
For more what we can expect, we're going to turn things over to Devin Biggs for a first look at our forecast.
And thank you very much, Craig and Emma. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Boosted Auto and Diesel. For all your automotive, heavy truck, and equipment needs, call Ronnie at 207-659-9458. All righty, here we are. A small credit advisory has been extended until 6 p.m. Thursday. Even though that cold front starting to move away, it's still causing some problems along the shoreline, though, and that is why we still have small credit advisories up. The wave heights continue to remain active, and on top of that, though, on land, we do have aerial flood watches up. These will get dropped at around the noon time frame today as all these rain showers will begin to move away. We continue to have some heavy rain showers moving through even this morning, kind of moving from the south toward the north in general, but also we're seeing a west to east movement. So give this a few hours, and by this afternoon, this will get out of here. And from west to east, the sunshine will begin to come out as well. Let's zoom things out and give you the bigger picture. We're going to push this off toward the east. There's a nice break right here, and some nicer days of weather will be on the way. We just got to get through this morning and maybe a part of this afternoon, and then the rest of the day will be looking pretty good. Futurecast for today, decreasing clouds, so a lot of sunshine on the way later today, and some clearing of the skies also on the way later on tonight with a lot of sunshine on the way for the daytime tomorrow. Winds will be out of the south at about 5 to 10 miles per hour to start. Some gusts up to 25 miles per hour also cannot be ruled out, especially along the shoreline. Moving forward for the rest of today, though, your hourly forecast, decreasing clouds once the rain gets out of here with temperatures close to the 60-degree mark. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma.
Thanks, Devin. A Stockton Springs mother has been found guilty of murdering her own child. A.J. Douglas heard from 3-year-old Maddox's grandmother, who says more accountability is needed for the family to heal.
After less than 2 hours of deliberation, a jury found Jessica Williams guilty of depraved indifference murder. Williams was arrested in June 2021 after her 3-year-old son Maddox died from internal injuries in the abdomen. During closing statements, defense attorney Jeffrey Toothacre remained adamant that Maddox's injuries could have resulted from innocent child's play. However, medical examiner Liam Fonte testified Maddox's injuries point to battered child syndrome. Fonte also explained the injuries Maddox suffered could not have been caused by another child due to the level of impact causing internal injuries.
The evidence offered by Dr. Fonte, the Deputy Chief Medical Examiner, indicating the severe injuries for Maddox. I think that what the investigation showed and what the evidence showed was that these injuries could not have been caused in that accidental manner, and that is what the jury's verdict here shows.
Maddox died 4 months after being removed from his paternal grandmother's home. Despite a guilty verdict, she continues to call for action to protect other children from suffering abuse.
Justice for my grandson Maddox, Marissa Kennedy, Kendall Chick, and all the other children wronged by the department will not begin until OCFS is held accountable. Maddox matters, every child matters.
Bose provided emotional words of how she'd like Maddox to be remembered beyond his tragic death.
As a normal 3-year-old that was happy and playful and loved at one time, and still is.
Williams instructed her attorneys not to give comment following the guilty verdict. Williams faces up to 25 years to life. Sentencing is expected to take place in December in Belfast. A.J. Douglas, ABC 7, Fox 22.
Well, meanwhile, a Glenburn woman has been sentenced to 20 years in prison on federal drug and firearms charges. According to court records, 31-year-old Danielle McBriarty conspired with others to distribute and possess with the intent to distribute methamphetamine and fentanyl in Penobscot and Aroostook counties. Back in 2020, she was also found illegally possessing a gun. When she's finished with her sentence, McBriarty will have 5 years of supervised release.
Maine game wardens have recovered the body of a missing Vinyl Haven man. A 31-year-old Owen Adair was last seen on October 13th. Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife spokesperson Mark Laddie says he was reported missing Monday after his ATV was found near Folly Pond. His boots and a canoe with some personal items were found along the shoreline. The Maine Warden Service began searching the pond Tuesday morning, and divers recovered his body around noon. His remains have been taken to the state medical examiner's office in Augusta.
U.S. Marshals in Maine have arrested 82 violent fugitives over the last 6 months. The Department of Justice says it's part of an initiative aimed at combating violent crimes in cities and towns across the state. From the beginning of April through the end of September, the DOJ says the U.S. Marshals arrested fugitives wanted for homicide, sex offenses, and other violent crimes. 19 fugitives were captured for crimes involving dangerous drugs, 17 for felony assaults, 9 for weapons, and 2 for homicides. Others were arrested for different offenses, including rape, kidnapping, and carjacking.
The Penobscot County Sheriff's Office arrested 2 people following the search of a Bradford residence yesterday morning. Sheriff's deputies conducted the search on the Middle Road in Bradford around 7 a.m. following a several year-long investigation into drug trafficking activities. The Sheriff's Office says during the search, deputies located 368 grams of assorted illegal drugs, including methamphetamine, fentanyl, crack cocaine, and other drugs, as well as a firearm, a stolen camper, and an undisclosed amount of drug proceeds. Following the search, deputies arrested 41-year-old Brian Jazowski and 40-year-old Lisa Jazowski. Each has been charged with 2 counts of aggravated trafficking of scheduled drugs and possession of a firearm by a prohibited person. The Sheriff's Office was assisted by the Maine Drug Enforcement Agency and Homeland Security.
Well, we've got the crime out of the way. That's good. The time now is 6:08. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, a local police department has just found out that they can upgrade their building. We'll tell you about that.
But before we head to break, let's take another look at that forecast. We're going to head to break, and we'll be right back when we return.
I was a public health nurse for 29 years. I went into the homes of my neighbors, including many seniors, and cared for them. Then Paul LePage became governor, and everything changed. He kicked seniors off Maine's low-cost prescription drug plan. He cut a Social Security program when it was needed most, and even opposed Meals on Wheels funding. How cruel is that? We can't go back to Paul LePage.
The top funder of Better Maine is the Democratic Governors Association.
Whether you're hurt by a box truck or by any commercial vehicle, you may have a big case worth big money. If you've been hurt by any commercial truck, call the Twos. We win for you.
Hurt by a commercial truck? Come out on top. Call the Twos.
Okay, get this. This week I'm heading out, jumping on a plane, landing somewhere in America to help give someone, are you ready for this? $1 million. So who will it be? The $1 million giveaway. Watch it happen live only on GMA.
If you design men's underwear, you'd make them what?
Velcro.
And wax yourself. Family Feud.
Weekdays at 9 on ABC 7.
I had sold him a truck, and he owes me $6,000.
I looked at my records, and I don't owe her anything.
Does anybody have anything on papers?
I don't have it on paper, but...
Oh, so you check the records in your head.
Hot Bench. Wednesday at 3 on ABC 7.
Welcome back, everyone. The city of Ellsworth has announced plans for a new police department. Matthew Jaroncic has more on the story.
Ellsworth City Council voted 5-2 in favor of moving the police department to 416 High Street Monday night. The police unit currently shares the same building as City Hall and the Ellsworth Fire Department.
The area is cramped. It's not ergonomically acceptable. And there's several security concerns because of windows and things like that.
According to Police Chief and City Manager Glenn Mosier, under the new agreement, Ellsworth will be leasing the High Street property for more than $100,000 a year over a 20-year span, with the rent increasing 3% each year. However, some Ellsworth taxpayers say they don't agree with the decision.
Well, I feel that the police station that we have now is adequate. They are taxing the businesses and the private owners of land in Ellsworth right out of their homes. Taxes are ridiculously high.
Mosier says the transition will be well worth the cost and help with the department better serving the community.
It's going to provide a significant amount of additional space for the police department, allow us to grow, allow us to develop, to grow with our community as the community continues to grow, and provide more opportunity for the police department to be able to do things correctly.
This is the building that the police department is going to take over, and despite it being a little farther away from City Hall, Police Chief Mosier tells me this is the best place for the police department.
We're going to have an opportunity to have safe and state-of-the-art equipment for our officers, for our storage of our evidence, for our criminal prosecution of cases. So it provides us a lot more space for our officers, our detectives, and our supervisors.
And with the new facility, the city voted to invest more than $800,000 in renovations, which include remodeling the main floor and basement, upgrading its HVAC, and installing new private fencing. In the end, Mosier says everyone benefits with this decision.
It's really much more than just a win for the police department. I think it's a win for fire, and it's a win for the city overall, because now we have an opportunity to focus on other needs.
Matthew Jaroncic, ABC7 and Fox 22.
Bruce Poliquin spoke about border security during a press conference at the Republican headquarters in Bangor yesterday. The Republican District 2 candidate reflected on his trip to the southern border, which he claimed to be wide open under the Biden administration, and urged incumbent Jared Golden to visit the border himself. Poliquin claimed current policies are to blame for an influx of fentanyl coming into the U.S. He said securing the southern border would be a top priority for him if elected, touting his endorsement by the National Border Patrol Council.
They extend these endorsements to individuals who they know have a record of supporting law enforcement along our borders or with our state police or our sheriffs or our local PDs. I am that person.
In response, Representative Golden's campaign released a statement saying, quote, "Mainers know Jared Golden has a strong record standing up to his party and supporting border security. During his time in Congress, he voted to send far more resources, including the border wall, physical barriers, border infrastructure, personnel, and more, to strengthen the border than Bruce Poliquin ever did in his 4 years in office. Jared knows that local law enforcement has an essential role to play in the fight against fentanyl in our state, and he's proud to have earned the endorsement of the two biggest law enforcement groups in Maine over Mr. Poliquin."
It's going to be a very interesting race. The midterms right around the corner now.
It's coming up quickly. I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, we'll deal with that next month. And it's like, no, it's November 3rd.
Right? We'll be reporting results here before you know it.
Yes, I know. Yeah. Well, the time is now 6:14. After the break, an update on the funding struggles for construction of the Islaho dock in Stonington.
Plus, information about a new referendum that could be on next year's ballots, which could directly affect local auto repair shops. Those stories and more as Good Morning Maine continues.
I'm Jay Pearl from Carroll Harper & Associates, Maine's most experienced Medicare health plans agency. Every day we hear how complicated navigating the Medicare maze can be. Let us help. From enrolling in Medicare to finding the right Medicare health plan, we are your go-to agency. We represent Martins Point Generations Advantage and other Medicare health plans that meet our quality standards. There's no cost or obligation for our services, so call Carroll Harper & Associates today.
It's simple, and it's not an imaginary threat. In fact, it's happening right now all over the country. Bruce Poliquin would hand over control of our healthcare decisions to politicians. Poliquin would allow politicians like him to make abortion illegal, even in the case of rape and incest. But that's not the end of the story. Poliquin also supported a national abortion ban. So even if Maine says no, we still lose control of our healthcare decisions. Bruce Poliquin is a risk we just can't take. Center Forward Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
You'll find something for everyone at Maine's #1 Kia dealer, Van Sickle Kia. Looking for an excellent all-wheel drive SUV? Kia has you covered with the all-new all-wheel drive 2023 Kia Sportage, or check out the 2023 Kia Forte with a list of standard Kia driver assist features, including auto emergency braking and up to 41 mpg highway. With 15 models to choose from, Kia has you covered, and you'll get Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
The best cars, the best prices, and the best warranty. I'm Peter Van Sickle. I guarantee it.
Welcome back. A nonprofit that operates the only ferry service for the island community of Isle Ho says they need a significant amount of funding. Age and weather have not been kind to the Isle Ho boat service dock in Stonington. Senior Captain Garrett Aldrich says it's developed a sizable rotten spot down the center of the dock.
We are sort of the lifeline to Isle Ho in many aspects. We carry the mail down there, but beyond the mail, we take a lot of the groceries, a lot of the lumber, building materials, cement, stone, you name it, down to the island.
Aldrich says repairs will cost at least $1.6 million. They have applied for grants, but they will only cover a small portion of the cost if they get those grants. He says as a nonprofit, they may need to look for donations or whatever funding they can find.
To find another dock that would be suitable, like what we have, is pretty much non-existent in Stonington. We really need to get this built up and taken care of and secure.
Aldrich says they hope to begin repairs on the dock in the winter of 2023-2024.
A new referendum could be on next year's ballot, asking voters if they'd like Maine to become a right-to-repair state. Secretary of State Shanna Bellows says signatures are now being collected to add the question to the 2023 ballot.
We just issued a new referendum petition to people advocating for a right to repair modeled on a law that has been in place in Massachusetts for quite some time.
Under current law, many manufacturers send repair data and maintenance info directly to dealers while withholding it from consumers and local shops. A right to repair law aims to give motorists the option to go to the mechanic of their choice or work on their vehicles themselves without being forced to go to the dealer.
Makes sense. Well, the time now is 6:18.
Let's get a full look at that forecast. Meteorologist Evan Biggs is in with the latest.
Alrighty, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Boosted Auto and Diesel. For all your automotive, heavy truck, and equipment needs, call Ronnie at 207-659-9458. All right, let's get things rolling this morning. A small craft advisory is up, and it's been extended until 6 p.m. on Thursday. We'll be watching for some high surf, courtesy of gusty winds along the shoreline. Again, so not good for some of those smaller boats still in port. But otherwise, though, here we are, aerial flood watch. It's in effect until the noon time frame today because of all the heavy rainfall that we continue to see, even this morning. But look what happens from here. We do have all this rain right here. No lightning. We've been wondering about lightning, and so far it seems to be holding off, at least within the last few hours. Though it's been moving from the south going toward the north, kind of over the same areas as well. That's why that aerial flood watch is in effect, and that'll get dropped later on today once all this rain begins to move out of here. Let's give you a little bit more of a bigger picture, though. So this has all been tracking a little bit from the south to the north and a west-east movement as well, but the clouds decreasing right behind it, so it does mean some very nice weather will be on the way as you do move forward. Let's zoom things out right now. Here's the center of low pressure right about in here, moving from the west to the east, so that means some nice weather on the way for us very soon. We've got to get past today, though, especially this morning. Then by this afternoon, things will begin to improve. Here we are. Those gusty winds will begin to back off as well. Well, maybe a few gusts up to around 20 miles per hour throughout the daytime today, though, but quickly backing off later on tonight, so a lot of these winds not lasting very long. So calmer weather will soon be on the way. Here's a look at those wave heights right now, up to 13 feet according to some of the buoys out towards sea. closer toward land at around 4 to 5 feet. So again, the surf is active out there this morning. Our average high is 57 degrees. We'll reach for the lower 60s today. A quick little cool down Thursday and Friday in the middle to upper 50s, then lower to middle 60s on the way by the weekend. Back in the upper 50s Monday, lower 60s as we head towards your Tuesday. Futurecast moving forward, nice weather on the way. We'll get the rain out of here, decreasing clouds, allowing sunshine to come out, and a mostly clear sky on the way for us tonight. So it's going to be a very nice and peaceful evening out there. And then by tomorrow, maybe a little bit more wind again and a few passing clouds, but overall, a lot of sunshine also on the way. For today, lower 60s, some rain showers on the way, mainly in the morning period, maybe early afternoon if you're lucky, then becoming partly cloudy with that south wind getting up to around 25 miles per hour. Later on tonight, upper 30s on the way for your overnight low, mostly clear with that south wind at 25 miles per hour early with decreasing wind overnight to around 5 miles per hour or so. As we look ahead towards tomorrow, middle 50s, mostly sunny and breezy, gusty southwest wind getting up to 20 miles per hour yet again. Your boosted auto and diesel extended forecast. A few dry days on the way, though, especially Friday and Saturday, with a lot of sunshine, temperatures in the upper 50s to lower 60s, and middle 60s again on Sunday with a mostly cloudy sky.
Pretty good forecast once we get through this morning, though.
All the rain is paying off.
Yeah.
Looks like a nice weekend.
Lots of sunshine. We'll dry things out nicely.
Yeah. Well, when we return, Tyler Cruz will have your latest in local sports.
Don't go away.
She's been learning about the founding of our country, about rights and freedoms. Freedoms that today are under assault. Politician Bruce Poliquin supported amending the U.S. Constitution to ban abortion. He even voted for a nationwide ban. Poliquin would allow politicians to stand between women and their doctors. He supported allowing states to outlaw abortion even in cases of rape or incest. We can't let Bruce Poliquin back in Congress.
DCCC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Wings for Children and Families is hiring youth and child case managers across central and northern Maine for all 6 of our locations. Wings offers a highly supportive work environment where caring and compassionate individuals can make a difference in the lives of children with special needs. Call today, visit our website, or connect with us on Facebook to learn how you can make a referral for services or join our team, where we are highly committed to bringing hope to those we serve. Wings, ranked one of the best places to work in Maine for the last 5 years in a row.
Get ready for Return of Fright. After 2 years of resting peacefully, Fright at the Fort, Return of Fright is back. October 15th, the 21st and 22nd, and October 28th and 29th. You'll encounter aliens, monsters, zombies, and all things creepy lurking the corners and dark passageways of the Fort Knox Historic Site and Prospect. Tickets are $15 for all ages. No at-the-door ticket sales available. All tickets are sold online through Eventbrite. Purchase yours online at fortknoxmaine.com.
Senator Joe Baldacci, hardworking, independent, and effective. Joe has always been a champion for Maine seniors. Joe Baldacci sponsored and passed the legislation that generated more than $90 million to nursing homes in Bangor and across the state that have been hit hard by the pandemic. Joe Baldacci delivered on funding to protect health care and important services for thousands of Maine seniors. Joe Baldacci, hardworking, independent, and effective, delivering results for Bangor and Herman.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back in. Thank you for staying with us. It was another win for Maine football this past Saturday, and they are now 5-0 in their last 5 homecoming games. Just a quick stat there. And a big part of the win was the defense. They held one of the top offenses in the conference in check for most of the game, and leading the way was junior Kyrie Mans.
Once we got to play complimentary football, we started to get the dub.
For the second straight week, Maine football hit the locker room Saturday victorious, with an impressive 38-28 win over Monmouth, keeping the top rushing attack in the conference at bay for 60 minutes of football.
Defensive line had an impact in the game, in the run game and the pass game. Monmouth was a team that was rushing for 246 yards a game, so to hold them to 112 and hold their top running back to 80 yards was huge, so that starts up front.
Leading the way up front this past week was Kyrie Mans, who forced a fumble, recorded a career-high 11 tackles, a sack and a half, and more, all earning him CAA Defensive Player of the Week.
He's a really good player. He's fast off the edge for us. Gets me a lot better during practice. Going with him all camp. really just trying to get out of the pocket, get away from that guy. He's quick, gets up the field fast.
We got something special going on. We just stuck to our routine and continue to take it one day at a time. And we just played black hole football. We had to get back to that black hole mentality. We had to swarm to the ball and create takeaways and stop the run, and that's exactly what we did. And as you see, we got the W.
And the D-line isn't the only place where his impact has been felt this season.
Kyrie is continuing to get better, especially the past couple of weeks. Last week, he was our special teams player of the game. He's a guy that's on all 4 special teams, making an impact on special teams. And now, looking at defensively, he's always been a guy on third down. His role has increased first and second down as well.
Now, he and the Black Bears are preparing for a matchup with Stony Brook on Saturday. And even though the Seawolves' record doesn't say it, Maine knows it's not going to be an easy victory.
Football is a game of momentum. That's the beautiful part about it. And I know they're a hungry team, and much respect to them. We don't look at the record, even though they are 0-6. We don't look at the record. We just continue to respect every opponent and take it one day at a time and do the same thing we did last week and come up with the dub.
All right, looking to pick up win number 3 on Saturday are the Black Bears on the road at Stony Brook. Should be a good one. They've really turned it around lately. Let's stay on the University of Maine subject now. Field hockey has also been rolling lately. They've won a program record 10 straight games, unbeaten in conference play right now, and for the 4th straight week, receiving votes in the top 25 coaches poll, coming in at 23 this week in the National Field Hockey Coaches Association, just outside of the top 25 in RPI rankings with the NCAA as well. They come in at 26 on that list, behind UMass Lowell and UAlbany, who are both America East teams that cracked the top 25. Maine beat Lowell early in the year. They're back home on Friday, hosting the University of Vermont, looking to keep it rolling. All right, let's talk some Patriots now. If you are a Pats fan, you probably find yourself in one of 2 camps right now. First camp is saying, ride Zappe until the wheels fall off. He's the guy. Second camp says, Mac Jones is your quarterback if he's healthy. Playing Monday morning quarterback, Bill Belichick answered, kind of answered questions on the situation right now. Some are saying that they've ditched the whole new offensive scheme that we heard about in the preseason, and they went back to the basics once Zappe came in as QB. When asked about whether or not they've given Zappe a less complex offense to run, Bill basically said all that they're doing is what's best for the team.
And we've had to make some in-game adjustments the last several weeks based on how things have shifted either during the game or the game plan that our opponents have used against us, and so that's also part of it as well. That's football.
May not seem like much, and maybe I'm diving a little too into the weeds here, but the whole "it's what's best for the team" MO, that was the same reason Belichick gave for going with a guy named Tom Brady instead of the higher-picked, higher-paid Drew Bledsoe way back in the day. Just something that I found interesting. We're going to move on now. A lot of teams were scheduled to close out their regular seasons on Tuesday. Keyword there was scheduled. Wednesday is now the last day possible for fall sports regular season games. Because of Tuesday's rain, we have a busy one. Here are a few of the rescheduled games in the area that will now be played Wednesday. We have a triple header at Cameron Stadium. Brewer and Camden Hills girls soccer are going to get the party started at 1 p.m. Brewer boys are playing in Camden. That's followed by Herman and John Bapp, some Class B action. That's at 3 p.m. again at Cameron Stadium. And the final game on that turf that day will be Bangor girls soccer hosting Hampton Academy. And then down the road at Hampton Academy, we've got the boys game at 5 o'clock on that turf over there. Should be an exciting final day of the regular season. That is all the time we have for sports right now. We will be right back after the break.
At Home Kitchen, Bath, and Flooring in Dover Foxcroft are proud members of the Flooring Network here in Maine. We have our flooring installers on staff ready for you and your custom flooring project. With over 50 years of combined experience, we'll work with you from start to finish, including demo and cleanup. Backed by the Flooring Network's state-of-the-art warehouses, we have a massive inventory to provide you with the best value and fit any flooring budget you may have. So stop in, meet our flooring experts, and see what we can do to make you feel at home.
Hammond Lumber Company, a 4th-generation family-owned and operated business with 22 locations across Maine and New Hampshire and a legacy of service to the community, is proud to be the presenting sponsor of the 2022 Plane Pull to benefit the Travis Mills Foundation.
Hey everybody, Travis Mills here, founder and president of the Travis Mills Foundation. And on behalf of myself, my family, and the recalibrated veterans and their families, I want to say a massive, huge, gigantic thank you to Hammond Lumber Company for their continued support. I appreciate them, and I hope you do as well.
I'll always be an independent fighter for you.
Maybe he used to be. But when it mattered, Jared Golden helped Joe Biden hike taxes by billions on people making as little as $20,000 a year, and nearly doubled the IRS, targeting middle-class families for more, all while giving new tax breaks to the elite. Jared Golden. He's not our independent fighter anymore. Congressional Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Now's the time to get a great deal on taking care of your property. You need tractors rated #1 in durability and owner experience so you can do it all and do it right. Z-Series mowers that deliver a quality cut, and Sidekick utility vehicles where durability meets speed. Right now, bring home the Kubota VX Series for 0 down, 0% APR for 60 months, plus save up to $700.
You're watching ABC 7 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Well, today is October 19th, 2022. On this day in history, in 1781, the Americans defeated the British at Yorktown, Virginia, effectively bringing an end to the American Revolution.
And over 200 years later, in 1987, the Dow Jones Industrial Average plummeted nearly 23%, the largest one-day percentage drop in the stock market's history.
And birthdays today include American bass guitarist and singer-songwriter R. Thundercat, as well as the popular Jamaican reggae artist Peter Tosh. I don't know either of them, but happy birthday to them.
That's how you know I wrote them. I like both of them. I'll show
you.
you. Very cool bassist.
Okay.
Do-do-do.
Just like that?
Yes, just like that.
I like that. You got to work on your bass, though. It has to be kind of a down here kind of thing.
Okay, he'll work on it. At least that one's easier to work on than other ones, I guess. Today is National New Friends Day, Day of Unity, and, in contrast, Evaluate Your Life Day.
Okay, I just did it. I'm done. Good enough of that.
That's good enough.
All
yeah,
right.
we don't have to dwell on
now?
that.
Oh, we're talking about the weather now.
No, this is Evaluate Your Life, E4.
Hold on. Oh, yeah. Wow, it's a whole different show now.
Devin, have you
How about
evaluated
that?
your life recently? What about the weather, though?
And thank you very much, Craig and Emma. Happy Wednesday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Boosted Auto and Diesel. For all your automotive, heavy truck, and equipment needs, call Ronnie at 207-659-9458. All righty, here we are. A small craft advisory has been extended until 6 p.m. Thursday. Even though that cold front starting to move away, it's still causing some problems along the shoreline, though, and that is why we still have small craft advisories up. The wave heights continue to remain active, and on top of that, though, on land, we do have aerial flood watches up. These will get dropped at around the noon time frame today as all these rain showers will begin to move away. We continue to have some heavy rain showers moving through even this morning, kind of moving from the south toward the north in general, but also we're seeing a west to east movement. So give this a few hours, and by this afternoon, this will get out of here. And from west to east, the sunshine will begin to come out as well. Let's zoom things out and give you the bigger picture. We're going to push this off toward the east. There's a nice break right here and some nicer days of weather will be on the way. We just got to get through this morning and maybe a part of this afternoon. And then the rest of the day will be looking pretty good. Futurecast for today, decreasing clouds, so a lot of sunshine on the way later today. And some clearing of the skies also on the way later on tonight with a lot of sunshine on the way for the daytime tomorrow. Winds will be out of the south at about 5 to 10 miles per hour to start. Some gusts up to 25 miles per hour also cannot be ruled out, especially along the shoreline. Moving forward for the rest of today, though, your hourly forecast, decreasing clouds once the rain gets out of here with temperatures close to the 60-degree mark. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma.
All right, thank you, Devin.
Sundays can be the perfect day for a scenic drive, especially this time of year.
For Scott LaLiberty and Melinda Turner driving along the North Road in Mount Vernon, seeing an emu walking alongside them. Well, that made for a special moment caught on camera, as you can see there.
It took me a while to process it, but I told her, I said, you know, it probably isn't every day you see an emu, and we could probably drive, you know, for 100,000 miles and never see another emu walking down the road.
Scott tells us he had heard that the emu had escaped from a local farm in Mount Vernon during a storm early this summer. Her name is Harriet, and she has a boyfriend named Ozzy that can't wait for her to go home.
Something you don't see every day.
Early this summer.
Yeah.
She's been out a while.
Yeah, hope she's okay. Well, athletes everywhere practice and train to get better and faster at their sports. The same is true for competitive bowlers. They make corrections each game in order to improve their score.
As Jody Hersey explains, one Bangor man recently bowled a perfect game, scoring 12 strikes in a row.
Kirk Grass of Bangor loves the sound of falling pins.
My brother and I came when I was 16, and I haven't stopped bowling since then.
For the past 4 years, Grass has been throwing balls down the lanes at the Family Fun Bowling Center on Hildreth Street in Bangor, where he is also an employee.
It's fun no matter what. It doesn't exclude anybody, and all you got to do is practice if you want to get better.
Last week, Grass scored a perfect 300 game. He describes what it was like stepping up for his last throw.
And I was very nervous at the end. I went up and I said, "Oh, my legs are shaking," and my brother heard it. And then I just threw the shot. I didn't want to waste time, and the more time I spent, I felt like the more anxious I was going to get. So.
Friends and family captured Grass's 12th and final strike on their cell phones. His mom, Polly, says she is thrilled at his success.
He said, "Wow, Mom, you missed it by just a few seconds." And I was pretty proud. He's been waiting to get a 300, and he finally got it.
Grass is hoping his winning streak will continue. In Bangor, I'm Jody Hersey for ABC 7 and Fox 22.
How about that? A perfect game.
That was good.
Yeah.
A good main activity. I'll have to get into that.
Especially during the winter. Something
Right.
gives you something to do.
Right. Well, still to come here this morning, we'll have an in-studio interview with a local author who will discuss hauntings of the Allagash.
We'll be right back after that. After this, rather. Stick around.
Tomorrow morning on Star 97.7, Paul Dupuis has the music and fun. Sonny Shepard brings you Star 97.7 local news. And Steve McKay with the weather. Turn on your radio and get the Star treatment with Star 97.7.
This Veterans Day, join Fox ABC Maine as we salute and honor our veterans. Are you an active, inactive, or retired member of the armed services? Do you know someone who is? Then upload your photos on foxbangor.com/Maine Heroes. We will randomly select as many veterans as possible to win a gift card. Locally sponsored by Coastal Auto Parts, Complete Tire Service Incorporated, Diversified Ink Tattoo Studio, and Edwards Brothers Supermarkets.
Seniors know a scam when they see one, like Bruce Poliquin.
My heart is breaking for our seniors in Maine.
He says he'll help Maine seniors. But the last time Poliquin was in Congress, he voted to cut $500 billion from Medicare. And he supports raising the retirement age for Social Security. Maine seniors can trust Jared Golden. Jared stood up to both parties to protect Social Security and Medicare.
I'm Jared Golden, and I approve this message because Maine seniors earned their retirement.
Tomorrow morning on Star 97.7, Paul Dupuis has the music and fun. Sonny Shepard brings you Star 97.7 local news. And Steve McKay with the weather. Turn on your radio and get the Star treatment with Star 97.7.
Hello, Eastern Maine. Watch You Bet Your Life weekdays at 10 a.m. here on ABC 7.
And welcome back to Good Morning Maine. I'm here with Tim and Susan Caverly. They are Maine authors out of the Allagash. Thank you folks for being with us this morning.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we're here to talk about your book, An Allagash Haunting, the story of Emile Camille. And I'm going to just read off the back really quick to introduce it. Olivia's mother had always said that Maine's Allagash River trip was not like any other canoe trip, but she would never explain what she meant. A violent thunderstorm is building as 10-year-old Olivia is canoeing and camping deep in the Maine woods with her family. Travel with the girl as she learns about one of our nation's wild rivers, where she discovers an unknown secret about her mother when she comes face to face with the last thing anyone could ever imagine. So this is just one of many of your books, right,
yes,
Tim?
Yes, one of 11.
And how, I mean, so these are all kind of centered around the Allagash, correct?
Yes.
What's so special about the Allagash to you? What made you want to write about the Allagash in Maine?
Well, I was the park supervisor up there for 18 years.
Gotcha.
I went to work in there in the 70s on survey line, and I started getting the intrigue to the area from living in the minus degrees of temperatures for several months.
That'll inspire you with something.
And people were always calling saying, we've had a special experience on the Allagash. And it led to all kinds of things. And this book came from one that some volunteers had one night when they stayed in a boarding house that was over 80 years old.
Gotcha. Gotcha. It's not an old trapper's lodge?
No, it's a boarding house that was used by lumber crews.
Cool.
At Churchill Dam, halfway down the Allagash. Built about 1925. And there's some volunteers that came in to work for me for 8 weeks doing projects around the river. And they stayed in tents, and I think it rained every night.
Wow.
They came to this old boarding house at Churchill Dam and said, can we stay inside tonight?
Yep.
And I said, sure, but nobody has for 70 years.
Wow.
They said, we don't care. We just want to get in and get out of the rain.
Yeah.
So they went in, laid out their bedrolls, and before they could fall asleep, they heard footsteps coming downstairs from the upstairs old bunk room.
No, thank you.
Which used to be right full of lumberjacks that were cutting wood in the area. And they knew there wasn't supposed to be anybody there, so they got and they looked all around. There wasn't anybody there.
Yep.
So they went back to bed. 2 hours later, they heard fiddle music coming from every room in that old building.
Wow.
And that's what they reported to me. And they were out of there. They, with the footsteps of fiddle music, they went right back outside and set their tents in the pouring rain.
What?
They were not going to try to sleep in that place.
Yeah.
So that was where the idea for the story came from.
Wow. And there's been plenty of stories too, as I can see. How many books again have you written?
We've written 11.
Wow.
But there's a real history of mystery on the Allagash.
Yeah.
All the way back to Chief Henry Red Eagle out of Greenville.
Yep.
He was a storyteller, actor, Maine's youngest guide at 14. And he tells the tale of an Indian maiden that comes out at the head of 40-foot-high Allagash Falls.
Yep.
And jumps off once a year looking for a lost love that had gone over the falls.
Yeah.
And then in the sequel, The Allagash Haunting, you can actually read about an alien abduction that occurred up in 1976.
That one's iconic. Yeah.
And that's in the top 10 questions we get asked.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a guy at a yard sale about that recently, and it got a little heated pretty quick.
People want to know where the abduction occurred so they can go be abducted.
Yeah.
And other people don't even want to go in the lake.
Right, right. So this one specifically, is this one for juveniles?
It started out being for middle school.
Yep.
But all ages like it, and they asked for more.
And that's what I noticed too. I was like, I would read this in a day.
It's been made into a stage play and there's a radio broadcast. And we
Cool.
have the script available for communities that want to put it on. It's been performed about 8 times so far.
From start to finish, Ware Butler Building Supply will get you there. Ware Butler started in Maine as a lumber operation in the 1920s. Like most Mainers, Ware Butler adapted to the times and became a building supply company. Through good old Maine resolve and calloused hands, Ware Butler has grown with locations throughout Maine, including Lewiston, Auburn. If you're a contractor, if you're a do-it-yourselfer, let the folks at Ware Butler show you the benefits of small town service. Ware Butler Building Supply, Maine, from start to finish.
I think they like each other.
I'm Charles. Lunch?
Vanessa, I like lunch.
Bacon. Get 2 Bacon McDouble burgers for $3.99. Or get 1 with a McChicken for only $3.99.
When Rowell's Garage in Dover Foxcroft wants to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Rowell's Garage has been serving customers in the greater Dover Foxcroft region since 1946. Our goal is not just selling you a vehicle, but also giving you quality service to maintain your vehicle at peak performance.
And thanks for sticking with us. Here's part 2 of my interview with authors Tim and Sue Caverly. There was there was a letter you wanted to read too today, right? Are you
Yes.
ready to read that, or did you want any more
Almost,
set up?
almost.
Okay.
The volunteers,
Yeah.
they went, after they got up the next morning out of their wet tent,
Yeah.
they came over to see me because I was living in the headquarters there at the time. And they said, there's a ghost in the boarding house.
Yeah.
I said, did you see an apparition? They said, no, but we're sure something's there.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit while, and then after a while they went out to go to do their work. And a legendary Maine guide, a close friend of ours, Gil Gilpatrick, came in. And he said, Tim, I'm writing a newspaper article about the Allagash. Is there anything new to report? And I said, well, we had a ghost sighting last night.
Yeah.
And he said, tell me the story, which I did. And he said, what would the ghost name be? And I said, well, our letter carrier that comes in twice a week, his last name's Camille. And I worked with a lumberjack whose first name was Emile, so the ghost name could be Emile Camille.
Yeah.
And he said, great. And he went out and wrote an article about it, The Haunting of Churchill Dam by Emile Camille. And the article came out very, very well.
Yeah.
Now, Gil knows that no ghost is seen. Gil knows he and I made the name up. And yet a month after that article appeared in the paper, he gets this letter in the mail, which Sue is going to read.
Okay. Gotcha.
Bonjour, Emile. Your beautiful story about my cher Emile brought tears to my eyes and to the 24 eyes of our 12 children. In your article, you described the real Emile. It seems like only yesterday that we would hear our dearest Emile limping to the kitchen door. I know he only came home in the spring and left in the fall, but that made his twice yearly visits all the more welcome. The family was so sad when we lost Emile in the accident. We were so proud of him and the music he could put together. Oh, how he liked to fiddle and to do the jig. If anything could make him come back, it would be his sheer music. Sometimes Emile would get so taken up in his music that he would throw down the fiddle and dance and dance. Emile never let his bad leg get in the way of his dancing. Because his bad leg did not dance as good as his well leg would dance faster than his bad leg. This always made him dance in petite circles.
Yeah.
I remember that one night at Churchill Depot, Verre de Chêne we called it then. Emile had been fiddling to the jam on Gary's Rock. Well, during one inspiring lick, Emile threw down his fiddle, and he danced so hard and so quick that he actually screwed his back leg, the one with the brace, into the wooden floor. The music had to be stopped, and Emile backed off before the dance could go on.
Wow.
Merci, Monsieur Gil, for telling the story of our cher Emile so well and bringing back fond memories. My family hope that you and Mrs. Gill sont très bien. Sincerely, Madame Emile Camille.
Wow.
So he gets this letter about a fictional character from the wife.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of mystery in the Northwoods.
Yeah. And what would compel you to think of a name like that? I mean, especially the volunteers heard fiddling.
Right.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was Mr. Camille was our postman. He came in twice a week, and woodcutters common name is Emile in some areas up there.
That's unexplainable.
And so there's a Mrs. Emile Camille somewhere.
Wow. Wow.
Maybe we could get her in.
Wow. Yeah. Hey, you let me know. You have my email. That's exciting. Well, thank you both very much for coming in today. I hope you can always keep documenting these stories. This is incredible.
Thank you. Emma.
Of course. We'll throw it over to weather now.
Alrighty, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Boosted Auto and Diesel. For all your automotive, heavy truck, and equipment needs, call Ronnie at 207-659-9458. All right, let's get things rolling this morning. A small craft advisory is up, and it's been extended until 6 p.m. on Thursday. We'll be watching for some high surf, courtesy of gusty winds along the shoreline. Again, so not good for some of those smaller boats still in port. But otherwise, though, here we are, aerial flood watch. It's in effect until the noon time frame today because of all the heavy rainfall that we continue to see. Even this this morning, but look what happens from here. We do have all this rain right here. No lightning. What they've been wondering about lightning, and so far it seems to be holding off, at least within the last few hours, though. It's been moving from the south, going toward the north, kind of over the same areas as well. That's why that aerial flood watch is in effect, and that'll get dropped later on today once all this rain begins to move out of here. Let's give you a little bit more of a bigger picture, though. So this has all been tracking a little bit from the south to the north and a west-east movement as well, but the clouds decreasing right behind it, so it does mean some very nice weather will be on the way as you do move forward. Let's zoom things out right now. Here's the center of low pressure right about in here, moving from the west to the east, so that means some nice weather on the way for us very soon. We've got to get past today, though, especially this morning. Then by this afternoon, things will begin to improve. Here we are. Those gusty winds will begin to back off as well. Well, maybe a few gusts up to around 20 miles per hour throughout the daytime today, though, but quickly backing off later on tonight, so a lot of these winds not lasting very long. So calmer weather will soon be on the way. Here's a look at those wave heights right now, up to 13 feet according to some of the buoys out towards sea, closer toward land at around 4 to 5 feet. So again, the surf is active out there this morning. Our average high is 57 degrees. We'll reach for the lower 60s today. A quick little cool down Thursday and Friday in the middle to upper 50s, then lower to middle 60s on the way by the weekend. Back in the upper 50s Monday, lower 60s as we head towards you Tuesday. Futurecast moving forward, nice weather on the way. We'll get the rain out of here, decreasing clouds, allowing sunshine to come out, and a mostly clear sky on the way for us tonight. So it's going to be a very nice and peaceful evening out there. And then by tomorrow, maybe a little bit more wind again and a few passing clouds, but overall, a lot of sunshine also on the way. For today, lower 60s, some rain showers on the way, mainly in the morning period, maybe early afternoon if you're lucky, then becoming partly cloudy with that south wind getting up to around 25 miles per hour. Later on tonight, upper 30s on the way for your overnight low, mostly clear. That south wind at 25 miles per hour early with decreasing wind overnight to around 5 miles per hour or so. As we look ahead towards tomorrow, middle 50s, mostly sunny and breezy, gusty southwest wind getting up to 20 miles per hour yet again. Your boosted auto and diesel extended forecast. A few dry days on the way, though, especially Friday and Saturday, with a lot of sunshine. Temperatures in the upper 50s to lower 60s and middle 60s again on Sunday with a mostly cloudy sky.
No matter what type of severe asthma you have, Tespire can help you have fewer asthma attacks and breathe better. Tespire is an add-on treatment for people 12 and older. It is not a rescue medication. Don't take Tespire if you're allergic to it. Allergic reactions like rash or an eye allergy can happen. Don't stop your asthma treatments unless your doctor tells you to. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection or your asthma worsens. Sore throat, joint, and back pain may occur. Avoid live vaccines. No matter who you are, ask your asthma specialist about Tespire today.
It's simple, and it's not an imaginary threat. In fact, it's happening right now all over the country. Bruce Poliquin would hand over control of our healthcare decisions to politicians. Poliquin would allow politicians like him to make abortion illegal, even in the case of rape and incest. But that's not the end of the story. Poliquin also supported a national abortion ban, so even if Maine says no, we still lose control of our healthcare decisions. Bruce Poliquin is a risk we just can't take. Center Forward Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
We're no football players, but we do know a lot about Medicare.
So why call some out-of-state 800 number
when help is right here at home?
Listen to what these people have to say.
My insurance kept going up and up and up and up.
I could never have navigated through the loopholes.
Gave me all my options and signed me up with what I needed within an hour.
Senior Planning Center was a lifesaver for us.
Oh, by the way,
we represent most Medicare health plans.
Here is CVS Health, where Aetna gives me 24/7 access to mental health support, whenever it's most convenient for me. Here, healthier happens together. Aetna, a CVS Health company.
So, what's this little number called?
The grinding bean.
Come on.
Uh-oh, I think the bathroom broke.
Welcome back to Good Morning Maine. President Biden is set to announce a series of steps today that will address the oil supply crunch and lower gas prices.
Gas has become a major domestic concern ahead of the November midterms. The president is expected to say the administration is releasing 15 million barrels of oil from the U.S. Strategic Reserve as part of a response to recent production cuts announced by OPEC nations. He's also expected to say that more oil could be released from the reserve this winter.
Biden will also go after oil companies in remarks today, accusing them of price gouging at a time of historic profits. Other actions potentially include some limits on oil companies' exports to other markets. According to administration officials, gas prices have started to drop in the last week, but the national average for a gallon of gas is 20 cents higher than 1 month ago.
Well, meanwhile, according to the USDA, nearly 60% of all U.S. citrus is grown in Florida. Now, bad news, many of those orange and grapefruit groves were devastated by Hurricane Ian last month.
And while the Sunshine State pushes forward with recovery efforts, farming experts say citrus and other agricultural industries in Florida won't be as lucky. Fox News' Sean Lingell has the latest on that. Plus, how the crisis could impact your wallet.
More bad news for consumers. Already steep grocery prices could continue rising.
This is a gut punch. There's no doubt about it.
A new report from the University of Florida projects the catastrophic storm damage from Hurricane Ian could cost upwards of $1.56 billion worth of losses for the citrus, vegetable, and cattle industries in the Sunshine State.
This is the kind of event that will push growers out.
The blow dealt to farmers, resulting in fewer salvageable crops and delays in production, meaning fewer products like fresh oranges, melons, grapefruits, and juices are expected to wind up on store shelves nationwide, driving up costs.
At least 40% of our crop is on the ground and unusable and unmarketable. We're looking at maybe a 10% tree loss.
Hurricane Ian made landfall last month on Florida's southwest coast as a Category 4 storm. The storm then made its way through the center of the state, damaging roughly 5 million acres of farm and grazing land.
It takes 5 years for a freshly planted tree to produce enough quality fruit that you can measure it and count it.
And farmers were already trying to dig their way out from last year's disastrous harvest, where frost and disease ravaged many crops. Meanwhile, some of the citrus trees still standing could die in the coming months. Ian's intense rainfall dumped between 12 and 20 inches in many areas, oversaturating the ground and causing tree roots to slowly rot. Sean Lanchel, Fox News.
Well, the makers of a popular beverage pledged to be a holdout on rising costs during inflation.
Arizona Iced Tea says it wants its 23-ounce products to stay at 99 cents. The company's owner wants the price where it is for, quote, as long as we can. Arizona Iced Tea goes by word of mouth and not expensive advertising. And the company's chairman says he's willing to try to redesign its lid to cut down on costs.
A social media uproar over a photo showing a $1.29 price on a can was cooled when it was explained that the price was in Canadian pricing, not the U.S.
All right, keep it as a buck. I like their the sweet tea they have.
Yeah,
I try not to drink too much of it, but it's really good.
I know, and that's been the sense of consistency for a lot of years for people.
Yeah.
So you can go in there. I mean, those 75-cent large sodas, those have increased, but Arizona Iced Tea have always stayed the same.
Everything's gone up. Don't get me going. Don't get me started here. It's awful.
Yeah, we won't start. We won't start, Craig. Well, Good Morning America is next on ABC 7.
Thanks for joining us.
The future of connectivity is here, where mobile and internet work hand in hand to create one seamless network that works to automatically block threats. Powerful enough to run smart cities, yet made for you. Introducing Spectrum One. Internet, advanced Wi-Fi, and mobile working together as one to give you more speed, reliability, and security. That's seamless connectivity. That's Spectrum One.
Hanks Husqvarna is your full-line Husqvarna dealer with 2 convenient locations, 32 Old State Road in Carmel and 19 Moosehead Trail in Newport. Whether it's tractors and zero-turns, chainsaws to trimmers, or pressure washers to snow blowers, everything is set up, serviced, and ready to go by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or sales, stop in to Hanks Husqvarna, Carmel or Newport.
Need to unwind from a long day of work? Come experience life at